A very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for staying loyal to KBC Channel 1. It is the first day of July 2020. KBC Lunchtime News begins right now. We got the day's latest happenings. Today, when the Education CS, Professor George Magoha, also met education stakeholders talking about preparations to reopen schools. The latest news is that schools may not reopen in the month of September. Why exactly? We'll be telling you that in our comprehensive news bulletin. On a day when the positive cases of COVID-19 in our country stand at 6,366, with 148 people having died as a result of COVID-19. We got details about what is being done even across the counties to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. So welcome on board and be part of this particular broadcast at KBC Channel 1 at Serfine_Achieng on social media. Welcome on board. My name is Serfine Achieng Oma and our sign language interpreter is Lensa Odingo. Now let's begin straight away with our top story. Schools across the country are unlikely to be reopened in the month of September this year. Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha stated that the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country may be recorded in September, hence making it riskier for learning to resume. Take a look.
Wednesday morning at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development in Nairobi, education stakeholders led by Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha met early to deliberate on modalities of reopening learning institutions in the country. Magoha said projections by the Ministry of Health on coronavirus infections do not augur well for plans to resume learning in September.
Tests the options that are according to what is happening in the country as at the moment. You are aware, a few days ago, we had a peak of 278, and since that time we are in the hundreds. We have also been reliably informed this morning by the doctors that the peak is likely to come in September, and by the grace of God, perhaps taper down around January.
The 100% transition objective compounds the situation with overcrowding in classes, negating the social distancing directive.
Every child went to school using the 100% mop-up transition. Therefore, the children are at school and the schools are a bit congested. And that whatever is going to determine whether we open or not would depend on whether social distancing can be achieved in school.
Without divulging much, Magoha said their recommendations will be made known through the President's address on the nation on Kenya's COVID-19 status come Monday, 6th of July.
So we have reached a consensus. It is not my place to tell you which consensus we have reached. We are consulting. This is an all-inclusive process. So that by the time His Excellency the President makes a pronouncement about one or two things, it will be an informed pronouncement.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Thank you so much, Wambiru, for that. Now we want to take you straight to an event that is currently ongoing. The Public Service and Gender CS Professor Margaret Kobia, together with the CS in the Ministry of ICT Innovations and Youth Affairs, John Musheru, today were at the NYS headquarters in Ruaraka to oversee the launch of innovation projects at the service and the 2019-2023 strategic plan. The ICT CS is currently speaking. Let's listen in.
Eases the doing of all these things. One of the government's biggest focus is to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive and addressing the distributional inefficiencies brought about by market inefficiencies. At the same time, focusing on providing the vulnerable segments of our population, particularly the youth, with the jobs and livelihoods that they so deserve. We view innovation and enterprise development as a major policy agenda towards job creation and the creation of the productive, decent, and sustainable livelihoods for young people as a significant objective, both in public and private sector. To achieve this goal, We have taken various key measures to deepen financial access through the affirmative funds, provide access to markets by implementing preferential procurement. This is the AGPO, which is rolled out to roll out innovation programs and skills and drive awareness to our youth on the 21st century jobs needs through programs such as the Ajira Digital Program, the KOP program, and also the Huduma White Box. The results of all this is intended to create an enabling environment with reduced and facilitative bureaucracy that caters to the needs of our young citizens. The new NYS strategic plan is aligned to this policy imperatives and articulates a robust agenda in support of innovation, commercialization, and enterprise development, all geared towards ensuring that our young people are appropriately tooled and supported to achieve their fullest potential and in turn enable Kenya to reap a much-needed demographic dividend. In conclusion, I wish to encourage all our youth, believe in yourself and the ideas that you have. Be hungry, seek out help, and fight for what you believe in. It might not be easy at first, and we have seen that with Kenneth. It took 5 years. When you believe in God and have the determination, resilience, and consistency, the sky really is the limit. And with all of you as witnesses, I pledge the support of my office and the entire ministry in getting these innovations where it is needed to be, that is in the market, impacting lives of Kenyans, in Africa, and in the world. Let me also say I'm very happy that we are able to work very closely together with the CS of Public Service and Gender. As you know, the President directs us to work as one government. So the youth have a home with all of us together. I think youth are in every part.
ICT Cabinet Secretary John Musheru, who is the chief guest at the function where the National Youth Service are launching their 2019-2023 strategic plan, as well as several innovation projects. We'll be giving you details about that function in the course of the day. Now, we want to take you live to what medics are saying with regards to the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. Joining us now live is our reporter Caroline Kamau. She has been following up on a presser by quite a number of stakeholders in the health sector. A very good afternoon, Caroline. Kindly tell us about what they are saying in terms of the projections on the spread of COVID-19 and how this has an impact on the economy and the reopening of the economy.
A very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Caroline Kamau. As you rightly said, we are at Railways Club here in Nairobi. We were attending a joint health professional unions press conference right here. And of course, they did lists a number of grievances by health workers in the country at a time when the numbers of COVID-19 continue rising in the country. And I'll just I'll now be joined by the chair, Peterson Washira, the chair for Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, just to talk to us about those issues that are being raised by health workers in the country amid a time when over 100 of them have been affected by COVID-19 and they're now reporting 2 deaths. Karibu Sana, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot for hosting us. I think today we are here as the leadership of health workers to be able to also put our voice to a very important conversation about reopening of our country, and especially as concerns the welfare of the health professionals in this country. I think it has been said over and again that this is the front line. We are the soldiers that are going to protect this country from the scourge of this outbreak. And there are 3 things that we are focusing on. Number 1 is the welfare of the healthcare workers. And we must say that it's very unfortunate that even after the president giving out an allowance, COVID-19 allowance to health workers, they have not been paid for the past 3 months. And we are demanding that it must be paid with the July salary. Failure to that, will be saying the steps we'll be taking. And after that, it must be extended until Corona is over, because it was meant to caution us during the time of Corona, not only for 3 months. And after that, then it must be also be converted to become the health risk allowance. Number two, we are saying, as you know, we have already lost 2 of our healthcare practitioners. It's very unfortunate that we do not have life insurance in place. Even the WIBA Act has not been amended to be able to cater for this. And we are saying they must move very fast to ensure that this is taken care of, and that it will also work to caution those who will have maybe lost their lives, even in the past. We are also talking about reopening of our economy, and we are saying our schools and churches are the weakest link. Let us not be in a rush to open our schools and our churches, because you cannot control churches. Some will start saying they want to pray for the sick, and in the course of that, some of them, you have seen a pastor in another country die as they prayed for corona victims. We are also saying that most of the Kenyans are not adhering to the laid down measures to protect them from corona, because it has been criminalized, and they are policing public health measures. So Kenyans do not own these measures. So we want robust risk communication and health education. We want to see lorries with loudspeakers going across the country advising people on why they need to own these measures, because that is the only way we can be able to ensure that we deal with this code.
You talked about, in the press conference, you talked about the employment of health workers as we look at reopening and why this is important. If you can just speak about that very quickly before we wrap this up.
Thanks. And that is part of the strategy we are giving the government to be able to reopen. We are saying the president should give a directive to employ an extra 10,000 healthcare workers. And their work will be to go and see the vulnerable group at home, to conduct vaccination campaigns, and to ensure that when the surge comes, we will be able to handle that surge. So it's very important that first we prepare in terms of how we are going to handle the scourge before we reopen.
Thank you so much, Peterson, for your time.
Thanks a lot.
All right, that's Peterson Wachira, the chair, Kenya Union of Clinical Officers in the country. And I just add that Seth Panyako was also here, and he said that they will be issuing a strike if some of these issues that they have recommended are not addressed by end of day today. So we'll be looking out for that from this end. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Caroline Kamau. Back to you in studio.
Thank you so much, Caroline Kamau, for that update. And she was speaking to Peterson Wachira, who is the chair of the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, talking about the welfare of health workers and what should be done before the country even considers reopening the economy. Now, moving on, Rachel Ameso Amolo has been sworn in as the new member of the Parliamentary Service Commission. Speaking during the swearing-in ceremony, Speaker of the National Assembly, Justin Muturi, said her entry into the commission will provide the much-needed boost to parliamentary affairs. Ameso, who is a non-member of Parliament Commissioner representing the other gender, will join former Ainabkoi Member of Parliament Samuel Chepkonga, who is also a non-member of Parliament Commissioner. She will serve for a term of 6 years.
There have been some speculation as to the process. Just to briefly highlight the fact that, you know, even after the interviews, the Commission makes its recommendations to the 2 houses of Parliament, which then proceed to do their own approval processes. And I'm happy to note that the Honorable Rachel Ameso Amolo went through those processes successfully and was approved by both houses, thereby concluding the process as provided for in Article 127, whereby Parliament, meaning the 2 houses, duly appointed the Honorable Rachel Ameso Amolo.
I want to assure you that we are going to work together. The staff of the Parliament will work together, we'll sit and share, and see how to take forward the Parliament of Kenya.
Now, away from that matter, we take you to Samburu County, where the county government has introduced incentives for pregnant women seeking maternity services in the region's health facilities. The initiative that will see new mothers issued with gift bags seeks to encourage those who are pregnant to deliver in hospitals.
The government, in partnership with stakeholders, have embarked on reforming the health sector as it seeks to enhance services, including for those seeking maternal health services. In Samburu County, the county administration has been struggling to have pregnant women deliver at its health facilities, with most shying away from visiting the facilities. Samburu County Executive Member in charge of Health, Stephen Lekupe, says each of the 4,000 mothers who will visit Samburu County's health facility for delivery services over the next 6 months will get a baby bag gift.
We've shown you the baby packs, mother baby packs, that we normally use as incentives to lure mothers to come and have skill delivery. You know, our local Samburus don't want to come to deliver in the hospitals.
The initiative has won accolades from those who have already benefited.
Ningependa kuambia wamama wale wanajifungulia nyumbani wasijifungue nyumbani, wakuja wajifungue hospitali, maana hospitali unapata matibabu mazuri, unashughulikiwa vizuri.
Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
All right, and now on to matters politics. KANU politicians in West Pokot are planning to hold a special ceremony in honor of their party leader following the recent coalition agreement with the Jubilee Party. The region's leaders are also vowing to marshal support to have Gideon Moi ascend to the presidency during the 2022 general elections. Kevin Washira gives us more details.
As 2022 political formations begin to take shape, West Pokot County leaders drawn from KANU Party are hailing the move by the party to enter into a coalition deal with the ruling Jubilee Party.
Mara ya kwanza katika historia ya West Pokot tangu dunia iumbwe, Mpokot amekuwa recognized kuwa kupewa kiti kubwa sana. Tushapata minister, lakini mahali sai leader of majority yako kuwa state house vile anataka, tunasikia yeye ni karibu awe number 3, number 4. Tunaona ya kwamba Wapokot Mungu ametukumbuka kupitia Gideon Moi na Uhuru Kenyatta.
The coalition deal has since seen the area senator Samuel Pogisio nominated by Jubilee Party to serve as majority leader in the Senate. Several KANU legislators have also benefited from posts within parliamentary committees, including their party leader Gideon Moi, who was elected as Senate ICT chairperson. It is this development that has seen area leaders pledge to hold a ceremony in honor of the party leader once the coronavirus restrictions are eased.
Wale wanajidanganyanga ati Gideon Moi hajui kufanya siasa. Hii ndio siasa sasa ya maana, kwa sababu tumepata matunda ya mwenye anajali Mpokot.
They are also pledging to back his presidential bid alongside other players to ensure he is elected president in 2022. Kevin Washira, Lunchtime News.
And farmers in Kokoni Village, Lamu County, are counting losses following invasion of their farms by wild animals. And as Yusuf Farah tells us, area residents say the animals that have been straying from the nearby Kiunga National Reserve and the adjacent Boni Forest have been wreaking havoc on their farms, threatening the region's food security.
Over 100 farmers have been left with little to show after a group of buffaloes invaded their farms, destroying crops that were almost ready for harvest. Maize, green grams and cowpeas that were the only hope for them during the season have all gone to waste thanks to the wild animals roaming the area.
Askari ni watatu, kuna na IP, wanatukua polisi na wakaiongeza. Kuna askari wa kijiji, wanatukua waiongeza. Lakini wao wanasema wao hawana. Kwa hapo mashamba yetu yamemalizika. Kilo yetu ni mashamba. Mimi mwaka mzima mapato yangu ni sasa sina kitu.
A walk through one of the farms revealing the extent of the damage. The farmers calling for the deployment of more security personnel to enhance surveillance as well as erect an electric fence that will help protect them from the wild animals. Lamu County Woman Representative Ruwaida Mohammed has pledged to petition Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala to have affected farmers compensated for their losses.
Mashamba yote hapa tukutembeza, hakuna shamba hata moja nyati haingii. Hakuna shamba hata moja watu hawakeshi. Watu wanakesha.
Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
Police in Luanda, Vihiga County, are warning of an increase in defilement cases in the area, calling for concerted efforts to reverse the trend. Area OCPD Mohamed Kulo is urging parents to closely monitor their children during the current pandemic, even as he pledged action against the perpetrators. At the same time, he has cautioned residents against violating the dusk to dawn curfew. Luanda Police OCS Cecilia Mudhoni revealed that her office has registered a high number of defilement cases in the recent past, adding that most perpetrators are boda riders and elderly men.
Na wako na baba. Sasa nyinyi kama mjua watoto wenu wanaenda wapi? Tangu shule imefungwa. Hata sijui kama haiko msichana atarudi shule. Karibu wote mimba.
Actually nimeongea na hawa vizuri, wazazi ya hapa wajunge watoto yao, wajue watoto wanafanya nini, watoto wanaenda wanatoka nyumbani saa ngapi, wanaingia saa ngapi. Kwa hivyo vile sasa wanachunga watoto wao namna hiyo, sasa watajua watoto wako na tabia gani ama wanafanya nini.
Watoto wengi wamepotelea kwa wazee na bodaboda. Tafadhali tuachane na watoto wadogo. It's so shameful kusikia ati wazee ama vijana wanadefile watoto wadogo. It's a shame kabisa. Kwa hivyo wasichana nao, wamama tulinde wasichana wetu. Kwa nini utume msichana saa 1 saa 2 ya usiku? Ama we mwenyewe unatokanga na hata hujui mtoto wako msichana umeachia nani? Watoto wamekuwa so vulnerable, hata hujui yako wapi. Unakuta mtoto mdogo as early as 6 years amechukuliwa na vijana wadogo. Sisi tuko responsible enough to guard our children. It's a shame ile kitu inaendelea kwa society. Hata saa hii tunashindwa shule ikifunguliwa ni akina nani watasoma.
Pertinent questions they are being raised by the area security team. Now we want to take you to other counties. County governments have stepped up efforts to minimize the effects of coronavirus as the disease continues to spread within communities. In Busia County, the county government reached an agreement with striking healthcare workers, prompting them to call off a 2-day strike that had temporarily disrupted health services. This coming as Nakuru County government received a consignment of COVID-19 protective equipment for healthcare workers from a non-governmental organization. Here is a look at efforts by the county governments as the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic continue to be felt.
With the number of COVID-19 infections in the country continuing to rise steadily, county governments are rushing to boost their capacity to contain the spread of the disease. In Busia, the county government engaged striking health workers for over 7 hours, resulting in a deal that saw them end a 2-day strike. The healthcare workers were protesting, among others, the failure by the county government to promote 290 health workers.
Tumeuliza serikali kuu pia tusaidiwe na vifaa ambavyo vitawezesha sisi kufanya mass testing, na tukipata hizo vifaa za kutosha tutaendelea na mass testing kwa wananchi.
And Nakuru County has received a boost of 15 water tanks of 1,000 liters each, 15 cartons of bar soaps, and 400 primary school textbooks from a non-governmental organization to aid in the war on the pandemic. The NGO has partnered with the county government to strengthen hygiene systems. The water tanks will be distributed across the 11 sub-counties and will be installed in public schools, healthcare institutions, and trading centers.
We are going to divide these tanks. We have 11 sub-counties, and each sub-county will have a tank. And the other 4, we look at some counties who are more in need. and then we can give them one additional water tank.
Meanwhile, in Baringo, more than 2,000 elderly people are benefiting from the government's Inua Jamii program in Baringo South constituency. 11 million shillings was distributed to 2,922 persons in the constituency to cushion them against the economic burden triggered by the pandemic.
Tushikane pamoja na tupange mambo ya wale watoto hawajiwezi, wale jamii hawajiwezi na wasee, tupange tuwe na mpangilio na kila kiongozi ahusishwe.
Welcome, sir.
In the meantime, Kisii County residents have been warned against attempts to resume normal life as the government fights the COVID-19 pandemic. Kisii County Commissioner Stephen Kehara warned against reopening of some businesses. Kisii County Commissioner Stephen Kehara warned against reopening some businesses. Kehara distributed over 600,000 face masks to grassroots leaders from the county assembly. The governor, James Ongwae, called on the residents to jealously guard the current county coronavirus status, where only 5 cases have been detected.
I urge all the Kisiis of goodwill and the residents of Kisii County to ensure there is absolutely no stigmatization of any of those 5 individuals who may have contracted this disease.
And the clergy are calling on the president not to extend containment measures and reopen the churches, noting that many pastors who depended on the churches for livelihood are suffering.
Hiyo mambo ya extension tumeomba serikali wasi extend tena. Wacha tufuzwe venye tutakaa. Hata kwenye ilikuwa kubwa watu wengi wameendelea, serikali nyingi zimeendelea kufungua.
And KenGen has donated goods worth more than 7.9 million shillings to assist families affected by the COVID-19 pandemic in Western Kenya region and those living within the catchment areas surrounded by KenGen projects across the country. Finally, the Embassy of Israel has partnered with the Kenyan government to assist the vulnerable in the society. Led by the Israeli ambassador Oded Joseph, they donated mobility carts, sanitation stations, mosquito nets, and food packs to Light and Hope Center in Korogosho slums. The center is home to children living with disabilities.
There is also need to raise and sustain awareness about the existence of affordable assistive products, and that the use can be cost-effective intervention to reduce disease and disability burden.
Beatrice Gatonyengetich, Channel 1 News.
That is what is happening across the counties as the numbers of positive cases of COVID-19 stand at 6,366. Concern being raised about how ready the counties are to deal with this pandemic. Now, moving on, the National Museums of Kenya is constructing a 60 million shilling seawall to protect the historic Vasco da Gama pillar in the tourist resort town of Malindi from erosion. The Vasco da Gama pillar, built by the great Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama, is the oldest remaining European monument in tropical Africa and has been put at risk by strong tidal waves. The project that began last month is currently 25% complete.
The historical bell-shaped Vasco da Gama monument, built by the Portuguese in 1498, is located on the southern part of Malindi town. The pillar attracts both local and international tourists and is the oldest remaining European monument in tropical Africa. However, the treasure is in danger of collapse if nothing is done, as it is exposed to strong tidal waves. The National Museum of Kenya has now embarked on construction of a seawall to protect the pillar, estimated to cost 60 million shillings.
The erosion of icebergs in both the Arctic and Antarctica, the sea levels have been rising, and as a result, all those properties and areas around the ocean have been suffering. So one of those effects is the erosion of the base of Vasco da Gama pillar.
It's a special filter cloth
to cover it.
National Museum Director General Dr. Mzalendo Kibunja saying the government was doing everything possible to fortify historical and cultural sites along the coastline to ensure they are not washed away and are preserved.
Been able to receive funding to restore and rehabilitate and also stabilize the Fort Jesus pillar, which is Vasco da Gama pillar, which is very important as a landmark in Malindi. In fact, you cannot talk about Malindi town without Vasco da Gama pillar, and that.
Construction site manager Chihanga Donda says the seawall is designed to withstand the full force of the ocean's waves and is 25% complete.
The scope of the work is actually the construction of a block wall here. And the first operation we do is excavation. We do excavation in rock. Then after that we do shattering, and then we cast the strip foundation.
Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
And the latest from the world of business is that the Ministry of Agriculture has identified goat rearing as key to increasing milk production in the country and income among smallholder farmers. Saki Youth Group in Molo, Nakuru County are the latest beneficiaries of the National Agriculture and Rural Inclusive Growth Project, which has helped supply farmers with a high-yielding Kenya Alpine goat breed. The countrywide project is being funded to the tune of 22.6 billion shillings.
Out of the Chili Sechangwan location within Molo sub-county, 12 youthful women are sweating it out on some tiny farm feeding dairy goats. The members of Saki Youth Group are beneficiaries of national government-backed National Agricultural and Rural Inclusive Growth Project dairy goat rearing program that seeks to improve the livelihoods of women and youth groups in rural parts of Nakuru.
Kwa hii mradi ya NARIC tuliingia wakati tulikuwa tunapata mafunzo kupitia kwa Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries. Wakatuambia kuna mradi inakuja, tukaandika proposal, tukaqualify kupata 1,100.
Chairperson of the group, Ruth Namale, says through the program, members have received training on home-based manufacture of value-added goat products such as pasteurized milk, yogurt, butter and cheese.
Mbuzi wenye tulinunuliwa ni wale wa hali ya juu tunawaita kwa kizungu pedigree goats, dairy goats. Walitunulia mbuzi wenye ni wajawazito. Tunaendelea kulisha pamoja.
The women group has seen an increase in demand for goat milk with a litre retailing at 140 shillings.
Tunaona kwa vijana itatusaidia kwa kupata mapato. Juu tunatarajia tukue breeders wa mbuzi area hii ya Molo sub-county. Itatuajiri vijana. Alafu tunataka kama kikundi kila mmoja kuwe na mbuzi yake ya maziwa. Juu tunaona mara hii ng'ombe inahitaji sehemu kubwa, mbuzi inahitaji sehemu kubwa ya kulisha.
Saki is one of the 20 youth groups in Molo sub-county with a total membership of over 500 members that have received funding for the rearing of high-yielding Kenya Alpine dairy goats. Currently, the youth group has 5 pedigree dairy goats, each producing a maximum of 3 litres and which constitute a breeding stock. Nakuru is one of the 21 counties that are beneficiaries of the project that has been allocated 22.6 billion shillings, targeting 360,000 smallholder farmers countrywide.
That I had an opportunity to speak to the project manager, Oppo Kenya, Mudhoni Washira, on the mobile trends and how this gadget is changing depending on the needs and preferences of customers, and even how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the world of mobile phones. Have a look. Thank you so much for joining us. And now we want to have a conversation that revolves around the trends in mobile phones. We are coming from a background where mobile phones were owned by just a few who are the so-called elite in the society. And this gadget performed just basic things like communication, to now where almost everybody owns a mobile phone, and the functions have also diversed, and today it has become a partner that, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, many people cannot live without. Today we want to talk about the mobile phones and the trends, especially in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, and some of the trends that touch on the consumer needs. And joining me to understand how the mobile phone has not just changed the world, but the world of mobile phones has also changed, is none other than the project manager, Oppo Kenya. Her name is Muthoni Wachira. Thank you so much for creating time for us.
Thank you too for having me here on your show.
All right.
Yes.
So we always talk about how mobile phones have changed the world, how life has changed courtesy of the introduction of mobile phones. Kindly just let's begin by understanding how the world of mobile phones has also changed. What are some of the latest trends that you're looking at as somebody in this sector?
Well, the world of smartphone technology has quite diversified. If you remember back in the days, we used to have the kabambe phone that we used to play with. And right now we're having smartphones. So our devices have become compact, such that they're not just about texting and just making phone calls, but you can actually work from the comfort of your device. So looking at the technology and the evolution of smartphones, we are moving at a very fast rate, and I believe that the future is technology, and smartphone is part of that conversation that the future has.
And we have not seen anything yet.
Not yet. We are just beginning.
You know, when it comes to mobile phones, you always think you've seen the best. Then the next day you wake up and you find out there's something else that is being launched that probably nobody ever even thought that, you know, we could have, you know, such a gadget.
Yes.
I want us to understand, you know, what are some of the consumer preferences that could inspire some of these latest developments. If you look at the behavior, the needs, the challenges, and what people need in our society today, what is it that you'd say is inspiring our development towards that direction?
Most consumers, when purchasing a device, it's mostly about the battery, because they need something that can sustain them from 8 to 5 when doing their day-to-day duties, And then the world has moved into the world of online and technologies, So entertainment is also a big aspect of it, where you have also things like the gaming aspect of it. So I believe that we are not just buying, consumers don't just buy a device for you know, to look cool, but something that integrates back to their day-to-day life. How does this device affect me as a person? How does it enable me to do my job? So they need a phone that has good battery, a phone that can also help them get into entertainment sites. You know, social media is very big, and you know, digital is the next way that we are all going. So that is one of the conversations that you find most consumers as they walk in and out of our shops, that they mostly focus on battery capacity of a device, something that can entertain them. YouTube is very big. I don't know that you've seen also guys doing TikTok. Yes. So you need a phone that can enable you to do all this at the comfort of wherever you'll be, when you're moving, when you're having a good time with your friends. You want to also capture moments. You need a device that stores all these wonderful moments. We're no longer moving around with our laptops. Our phones are our laptops. So that is where the conversation is.
So the storage capacity also is increasing as the days go by?
Yes.
Are there anything that touch on the functionality of this particular gadget in terms of, you know, what people used to do with mobile phones and what they want to do now that probably is also inspiring us to develop in this particular world?
Yeah, like I mentioned, the smartphones have become more compact, something that can enable you to do what you want, you know, to work. The people who are buying a smartphone based on also the gadgets that they have at the comfort of their houses, how is it integrating to what you have in your house? So it enables them to also make such powerful purchasing decisions, so that you can have this device for a longer period of time. Something that enables you and I to not only just text, to only not just call. I can also have a Skype call with you at the comfort of my device. So Also, one of the key things is also the softwares. We have the OS 7, which also enables the phone to be very fast and very efficient. So those are some of the things that consumers are looking for.
All right. We'll talk about software and software development later. But I want us to also understand the concept of artificial intelligence. Right now, you know, you can just be wowed at how much this gadget can do and some of the areas it has been able to open up. I want us to talk about how that is also influencing the development of, you know, the mobile telephones.
The Internet of Things is the next thing that, like you mentioned earlier on, we are yet to see what is in for us for the smartphone technology. So the Internet of Things is something that enables you to connect through the internet. For instance, Oppo has gadgets called the Oppo Anchor W31. You just have to turn on your Bluetooth and you're able to, you know, operate your device, your gadget. You can answer mobile, you can answer calls from it. You can be able even to respond to messages. You're also seeing
you don't have to carry your
you don't have
gadget?
to carry, because you're also seeing people have got smart watches that are linked back to their phones. So this is the Internet of Things that we are moving very fast. You can also be able to, in the near future, we are going to be able to see each other through this particular IoT that the world is developing. And also, as the world evolves, we're also coming up with research centers that enable us to keep up with this new technology. 5G, 3G, and 4G are no longer going to be something that, you know, interests us as it used to be.
Do you think, you know, the consumers have explored some of these opportunities and these benefits that come with the development of the mobile phone? I still feel like
there's a
some
gap.
Don't even know how much they can achieve just by owning a mobile phone, a smartphone, so to speak.
From a global perspective, the world is moving fast. And here in our country, we are slowly adjusting. You've seen people have a conversation about the 5G technology that is currently underway. So I believe as Kenyans, we are also moving, or rather progressing towards that kind of conversation. And you're right, we are yet to exploit more. We are not yet there that we're able to understand how 5G operates, but gradually, because you see, the conversation is no longer about the traditional ways of communication. Digital is the way. That's why you're seeing most people are relying on e-commerces to do some of their activities. People are shopping from the comfort of their houses using a smartphone. So that tells you a lot that we are gradually adapting to what's coming with it.
But still more needs to be done.
Yes,
My
still
mother
more needs
has
to
a
be done.
smartphone, but she still uses it just for calling, calculator, and radio.
No WhatsApp, video calls, you don't catch up through that.
She's catching up on WhatsApp. So we hope as the days go by, she will understand what she can achieve with that particular gadget. But then we are in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. It has affected several sectors. I don't know, for example, just using your sector as one of the, I would say, case studies. How much of an impact are you feeling from the coronavirus pandemic?
True, COVID has had an impact on all businesses, not just our sector. And the good thing about every challenge that you're offered in life is that there's a positivity to it. So COVID has brought with it the new exploitation of the digital world. People are focused more on e-commerce. People are more focused on entertainment through their devices, their gadgets. So also for us as a smartphone industry, it has been something that we have really loved. We have migrated to doing launches online, something that we were not used to. So we are gradually adapting to it.
2 handsets just in this
Yes, Oppo has launched 2 devices, the Reno 3, which we did in April the 6th. And then sometime in May, we launched our new device, which is the Oppo A92. And we were both able to launch the devices from online. And people were able to streamline and see what it is that we're doing. Also, Oppo has been able to partner with Jumia for e-commerce. People are purchasing our devices from Jumia.
As you're doing that and adjusting to this new normal, as they call it, how are you also going about working with our local software developers? Because I know for you to launch something like that, there has to be some level of investment that has gone into it. Are you working with our local, software developers? Are you trying to embrace, what we can offer as Kenya, so that we can also sell our own and buy our own?
Well, Oppo has not been in the country for quite a long time. So from a global perspective, yes, we are working with software developers. Hence, we have different research centers within the globe. We have one major one in London where we have some of the best software developers. Coming back home, we are still trying to find those people who we can be able to work with.
Really?
Yes, and partner
You want
with.
to say we do not have
We
those
do
people?
have. No one is disputing that. We do have.
Yeah.
But as the brand continues to grow, you know, you have to set foot and be firm, yes, in the market before expanding your horizons. So we are gradually getting there as a brand.
All right.
Yeah.
So, you know, looking forward to seeing how that partnership is going to go about, because right now we're all about selling our own and supporting our very own.
Yes.
I also want to know how you're dealing with the issue of counterfeit. This sector has been one of the greatest victims of software and counterfeiting. Is that something you've had to deal with, and how is your company going about this?
I would not want to portray as if Oppo is a perfect brand, but we have not had such a situation where we have had counterfeits within our systems, because first and foremost, we are the only people who are the Oppo dealers in this country. So we are able to track how our systems work with our distributors, and if anything, if you log into our devices, which is our latest Oppo device, it is easy for you to tell whether that Oppo is original or not. First of all, there's a system on how to log onto our devices.
So how have you achieved that, to seal all the loopholes? Other, you know, companies would still struggle with the issues of counterfeiting.
I believe we have our eyes on the ground and our ears on the ground, and we are constantly trying to ensure that we are not having this kind of issues, because first and foremost, it will be such a bad name to the brand. Hence, we are constantly making sure that, you know, we follow the systems. And some of the things that cause some of these counterfeits is from the imports. You see, the moment we have people who are bringing in devices that are not within our systems, then that becomes a challenge. So as for Oppo as a brand, honestly, we have not had a situation of a counterfeit brand within the 4 years that we have been in the country.
I hope we can take your word for it.
You can.
But
you
then,
can.
we are closing our conversation. I want you to give us your final remarks. What does the future hold? We just said a while back, we think we know it, we think we have explored everything, but then we wake up and we find out something new. So what does the future hold when it comes to mobile phones? What should we expect from
We
your
should
perspective?
expect advancement, especially on the IoT. You know, that is where the conversation is gradually heading. There's no way you could easily have your gadgets connected within and you're having things running. So for smartphone, it is a gradual evolution. Even us ourselves, every day we are learning new things. We have had pop-up cameras. Now we are looking at having a device that can, you know, easily take good photos and videos for you. And a few years back, we used to, you know, invest in big cameras and videos. So right now, smartphone is the way to go. Smartphone is what is going to make you and I make our lives much more easier. So this is one of the conversations that even I, as a person in smartphone industry, I'm looking forward to learning more and also embracing the changes and the challenges as they go by. Yes.
Thank you so much, Muthoni Wachira, for creating time for us. Project Manager, Oppo Kenya. And from me, Serfine Achieng, it's been a pleasure doing this for you. I say, keep physical distance, not social distance. Use your phone, check on the people you love, call them, know how they are doing, and you can be able to keep your social circle close. Thank you so much for creating time for us.
Thank you.
On matters sports. The 2021 Africa Cup of Nations has been postponed to January 2022 by the Confederation of African Football as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, while the women's version of the tournament has been cancelled. The men's tournament has been set to take place in January next year.
Next year's Africa Cup of Nations has been postponed to January 2022 by the Confederation of African Football due to the coronavirus pandemic, while the women's tournament has been cancelled. The African Nation Championship CHAN, which should have been played in April, will now take place in January 2021. Cameroon will host both competitions. The decision means the biannual tournament will now be held in the same year as the 2022 World Cup, something that last happened in 2010. It was moved to odd-numbered years in 2013, that year's tournament only coming a year after the previous one, to avoid such clashes which risk disadvantaging African teams at the World Cup by giving them such an extended season of competition. Traditionally held in January, the most recent Africa Cup of Nations in 2019 was moved to the summer in an effort to avoid clashing with the major European League competitions. This was meant to be the case for the Cameroon tournament as well, but that was then changed back to January owing to climate conditions in the country and a potential clash with the Club World Cup. The move means that defending Premier League champions Liverpool will play all of next season without losing their key strike force of Senegal's Sadio Mane and Egypt's Mohamed Salah to international duty. Meanwhile, the cancellation of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations comes as a little surprise, given the tournament had no host while not one qualifier had been played. There was a boost for the women's game, however, with the launch of a new Women's Champions League for Africa in 2021.
Nationally, Chelsea will hope to dislodge Leicester City from the third spot on the English Premier League standings when they play away to West Ham United tonight. Meanwhile, Manchester United head coach Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has praised his team's confidence after their 3-0 away win against Brighton last night. United now sits 2 points behind the top 4 places. In Spain, Barcelona missed out on the chance to reclaim top spot in La Liga after they were held to a 2-2 draw by Atletico Madrid. And that is how we wrap up Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Thank you so much for watching. And those who are tuning in online, Nzioku Lua, Evans Omondi, and DJ Tenta. Thank you so much. My name is Serfine Achieng Oma. Our sign language interpreter has been Lensa Odingo. On behalf of the entire team, have a lovely afternoon.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika, and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 22 7428 Thika branch, 0725 000 706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET-approved institution.
You may be in the pit. You do not see how you could get out. But the good news is that you do not have to get by yourself. The Most High God is about to lift you out. He's about